Hey, this is gonna be my video where I show off basically how I would go about making a website, right? So one thing is knowing what a code means, but another thing is actually using that code yourself to make a website from scratch. And that can be something quite complicated, which can take quite a while. And in this video, I just want to show how I would go about making a website, the process, sort of the way I would think, right? And just in general prove that, you know, I'm capable of making a website from zero. So I've already made the website, so I do know more or less what it's gonna look like, and also have some of the values, right? So if I say height, let's use, for example, 60 pixels. That's not a number I'm making off the top of my head. I do want to make that clear. I do have on another monitor the values that I would need for certain things to make the website look the way I want it to look. But essentially, this is kind of how I would make a website, right? So I do already have a finished version of the website, so you can see how it's gonna look, but we'll start from zero and we'll see the process, right, of it. So we should be recording. Yes, I believe we're recording. So basically all you're gonna need is a blank Sublime Text 3 document as well as Google. So this is what Sublime Text 3 would look like. We're gonna go quickly over to Google. This is what the website is gonna look like, right? So really simple. We will sort of change it a bit. So we'll add images here as well. We'll add a nice little header as well. And the colors we might change as well to make it a bit more colorful. But this is sort of the base website, sort of how it's gonna look like. So what we're gonna wanna do, come to Sublime Text here. We're gonna want to make if I can, make it, sorry, not a new file because we already have a file, but we do want to save the file. And this is really important. You want to save it as an HTML. So we'll just call it, what could we call it? Video example, we'll call it video example. And this is really important. You need to use the .html tag, right? So if you were to use .css, when you do open this document, the computer will read it as a CSS document, but we want it to read it as an HTML, so that's really important. If you don't do that, nothing else is gonna work, so that's really important. So to start off, to get a very basic HTML document, we're gonna want to open I'm gonna call it the little crocodile, because I've always been told that that's a crocodile. So we're gonna want to open the crocodile, type in H, and here we're gonna have one recommendation here, HTML. And that's gonna sort of, this is the most basic HTML document there is. And so, yeah, basically you have a little bit of information here. You have this sort of the starts of the HTML document. It's what tells the computer that it's an HTML document. Then you have the head. So this is sort of some general information on the document. This is as well where we're going to be styling it in a second. And then the body is what you're actually going to see, right? So anything outside the body, you're not going to be able to see when you reload your website. But if I was to type ha ha ha, you would see it. So how do you then see the website? Well, the first thing we're gonna do is Command S to save. We're gonna come over to Google here, a new page here, file, open file, and video example. It is right here. So here we can see top corner, ha ha ha, like we did. Okay. So, however, obviously we don't want ha ha, we want this. So let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is delete ha ha because that's not what we want. Add a bit more space here. And now, what you can do is link a CSS style sheet onto the document, which is really easy here. Essentially, you would do something like link, and then here, this is where you would write the name. So for example, name.css. That is CSS. That's not what we're gonna do. I don't like doing that. I'd rather just have the CSS embedded into the document. So what we're gonna do is here inside the head, doesn't matter where inside the head, but inside the head, you want to do the style. Here we go. Style, open the crocodile, and just type style. And what it means is that anything inside, anything here, is going to be read by the computer as CSS. So that's where we're gonna have our CSS. The next thing we're gonna do as well is add a little title. So what are we gonna call it? Our website. What was it called here in the template? My website. We'll call it my website. Okay. No, we'll call it our website because it's our website, let's say. So, our website. Now, how are we going to start? Well, in my opinion, it's always best to start off with the body. So, if you come here to the final finished version, the first thing that we're going to notice is that we have a header, right? So, to do the header, we're gonna make a div. So to make a div, basically a div, what it does, I explained it in my coding video, but it refers back, or you're working with a div class and it refers back to CSS. So you can have a lot of customization. So how are you gonna do this? Open the little crocodile, you're gonna type div, click enter so it autofills with us, and now we're just gonna add a little space there. We're gonna come to the div, space, and we're gonna type in class. Now, what we're gonna type here is gonna be the name of the class. So since we're working on the header, let's just name the class header. Really simple, all right? And now inside of the header, what we want to do is we want to have, here we come here, we have a little heading and a little subheading. So what we're gonna do here is come here, we're gonna have H1, and now there's 6 levels of headings, let's just say. There's H1 and it goes all the way to H6. H1 is the biggest, H6 being the smallest. And it has its own little preset style, so that's important to know as well. So that's the first thing. We're gonna call it my website, and now we're gonna have a little subheading which we can just do a paragraph for. So we're gonna call it, let's say, what did it say here? Responsive website created by me. No, we're gonna call it website all about me. Yes, there you go. Now we're gonna animate maybe this here in the future. I already see a possibility where we can change it so it animates, you hover over it, it increases in size. We'll leave that for now, but this is gonna be the most basic thing here. Header, boom, we can save it, come here. That's our header. It obviously doesn't look like what we have here, but that's the basic principle of our header. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna want to style it. So coming here, what we're gonna want to do to reference the HTML, the class, here what you want to do is type dot and then the name of the class that you had given before. So for the header, here we go. I have a couple of things that we want to do here. So the first thing you want to do, actually before we get into the header, this is quite important as well, because I realize otherwise our document might not look great. We're gonna add a little general, some general commands to the document. This is something that you pretty much want to include in all documents. You want to add the little asterisk, and we're also gonna add the body function. So box sizing, and this is gonna be box, border box. And now the second, what am I doing? Here we go. And next thing you want to do is body. There's a couple things you want here. That's not what we want. There you go. First thing we want to do is margin. Margin is always going to want to be 0. Now, I'll show in a second what this would change essentially, but just for now, just know that we want 0. Now, fonts family, what this is going to do is change the font. So, in our case, we want it Arial, as well as Helvetica. Pretty sure I say Helvetica, yeah. And we also want it to be sans serif. So what is sans serif? Well, I'm not an expert in English or what sans serif means, but essentially sans serif is the little thing that comes out. So for example, if I have a T, it would sort of be like the little thing that comes out. Anyway, don't worry about it. But you want it to be a sans serif. It's just gonna be slightly nicer, maybe more touched up. So we'll go back to the header. First thing you want to do is add a little padding, right? So that the text isn't directly on top corner. So here what you'll see, we're gonna change this in a bit, but the text here is right at the top of the page, right? There isn't generally, actually there is a bit of tangly space in between the edge because the margin here wasn't 0. If we save this, the text is right up against the edge of the page. So what we're gonna want to do is add a little bit of padding, and I explained this in the CSS and HTML guide video, what the padding and margin and all that means, but I don't want to talk about it now. Just know that we need to add a bit of padding. We're gonna add 80 pixels. That's thing number 1 we're gonna do. The next thing we wanna do is align the text so that is in the center. Really easy, text align, center, obviously what it does. Next thing we're gonna do is we want to make a nice little background because white, if the document is white, then we're not really gonna be able to tell the difference. So background, and here we have a nice little color. So it's gonna be 1AB, and it's gonna be C9C. You can save that, we can come here, and you can see it's already looking so much better, a lot more like what we want. So we're gonna come back. Last thing you want to do is change the color of the text to white. So how do you change the color of the text? You simply use the color command. Now this is something which I sometimes get confused about. Background, we're just gonna change the background color for the simplicity of the video. Doesn't really matter too much. As you can see, it doesn't change anything. But sometimes I can get a bit confused with color and color background, or background color, sorry. Background color is really easy. It's just the color of the background, and color is the color of all the elements inside of that div, which is typically going to be text. So yeah, I mean, it's obvious. It seems obvious, but sometimes if you are trying to go fast, these are like the easy steps, I guess you could say. Sometimes this can mess you up. So color, we're just going to make white. It's actually going to autofill for us, so we might as well just use white, smoke, whatnot. It's a little, it's a different shade of white, but at the end of the day, that's not the most important thing. So we now have our header. Great. The one thing we are going to want to do is change the H1, which is this here. We're going to want to make that a little bit special. So to do that, again, I talked about this in the coding video. We want to do coding H1, which means that any H1 elements that are found within the header, they're going to follow these specific things that we're going to talk about now. So font sizing, we only want one thing, font size, 40 pixels. That's all we want. And that, you can see, if I reload, makes it slightly bigger. It's just me being picky, but hey, it looks better now, I guess. So what is the next thing we're gonna want to do? Well, coming back here, the nav bar is the next thing. It is slightly more tricky, so we could skip over it temporarily, but let's follow the order. I think that's going to be the easiest thing to do. So we're going to want to come back here. Again, let's start off with the HTML. So what are we going to want to do? We're going to want to make another div, essentially. So I forgot to open the crocodile. Here we go. Div, let it autofill, add a bit of space here, and here we're going to want to add class. So what are we going to call it since it is the navigation bar? Nav bar for short. We're just going to call it nav bar. Really simple. Now, here, if we come back, there's 3 links on the left and 1 link on the right. So what are we going to do? Well, we want to have 4 links. So A is the way that HTML reads a link. So we're just going to add A here. This is going to be 1 link, and we are going to copy this. 1, 2, 3 more times so that we have 4 links. Now we're going to want to give it a name. So let's call it, for example, home. Let's call it about contacts, for example. I'm just making this up, by the way. It doesn't really matter. And yeah, okay, no, it's not. Yeah, let's call it, for example, menu, whatever. This isn't too important. Next thing we're going to want to do here, you can link this to an external document, external file, an external link, whatever. Since we wanted to come back to the document that we're working on, we're just going to add hashtags. And you'll see what this does in a second, but basically it'll just take it all the way back up to the top. So we add this here, and here you can see we have a couple links. Now we want to style that a bit because obviously that doesn't look great by itself. So there's a couple things we're going to want to do. First thing, we want to start a navigation class. So nav bar again, because this is what we call it down here. So we're going to want to, I'll do that in a second again. There you go. We want to open it up here. I'm just going to add a bit of space there. It's annoying me there. So a nav bar. What do we want the nav bar to look like? Well, the first thing we want is overflow, and we want this hidden. So again, I talked about this in the coding video, but basically make sure that none of the child divs overflow over the parent divs. So again, watch the coding video where I talk about that in a slightly more developed way, let's say. But essentially, it's just gonna make it look nice. Gonna make sure that the elements aren't overlapping, and it's not. No, it is necessary. I was gonna say it isn't necessary, but it is. I think it's really important. So the next thing we're gonna do is add the background color 333. It's like it's this color right here. It's like a grayish. I was gonna say slightly blue. I don't think it's blue, but it is slightly grayish. The next thing we want to do, and as you can, if we come back here, what you're gonna see is that the navigation bar actually sticks to the top of the page. So there's three, technically, I guess speaking, lines of code that we need for that. The first one is position, and we want to change that to sticky because we want it to stick to the top. Next thing we want to do is position again. I don't like the fact that you have to do this, but we'll do it. You want to do position WebKit sticky. So it's the same thing as just the sticky, but it's kind of like you're almost half linking a document I talked about that in the coding video. So we don't want to do it now. I don't want to get too in-depth into that now. And the next thing we want to do is add top 0. And that's going to mean that we want it to stick when the top is 0, when it's 0 pixels away from the top. So we can come back here, and you can see it has the color. Now, we also want to change the height. So what are we going to do? .navbar A. So what does this mean? Any links inside of the navigation bar are going to follow what we are going to talk about now. So the first thing we want is float left, and it's basically what's going to allow these little things here to stick to the left of the page. So float left, that's the first thing we want. Next thing we want is display block. Display block, not inline block, just block. Next thing we want is color. We want to change it to white because blue just looks horrible. We don't actually want it to look like it's a link, so I'll just white. And the next thing we want to do for it to not look like a link, and I don't know, well, fine, whatever, white smoke, I don't care. The next thing we want to do for it not to look like a link is take away the little underline. How do you do that? Text decoration, none. There's a couple things that you can do in text decoration. You can like superscript it, underscript it, you can cross it out, a bunch of things. We don't want any of that, so just none. We click save, we're gonna come back. You can see it's already looking slightly different. Now, that's not it though, because we do want a bit of padding. Now, we're gonna want padding across the x-axis, 14 pixels across the x-axis, 20 across the y-axis. And then last thing we want to do is text align, and we're gonna want to center that. So let's save it up real quick. Come here. Boom, it is already looking like a nav bar, which I'm quite happy about. Now, what are we gonna do now? Is obviously here, the navigation bar, there's two special things we want to make. Number one is we want it to be 3 links here, 1 link here. And the other thing we want to do is make this link here always have that specific color, which in this case we don't have. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this, but the way that I'll do it a specific way, right? I think it's probably the easiest. Oh, and the last thing, forgot to mention, we want it to change color when we hover over it. So how are we gonna do this? Well, we're gonna come back here to the HTML, and what we're gonna want to do, we want to come here. There you go. Here, and we're going to want to add a class for the first one, because this one is gonna be the one that's different, right? This one that's going to be always have that little color. So class, we're going to add it active, for example. It's always going to be active. And class, we're going to call this one right, for example, because we want it to stick to the right, right? This one's always active, always has that color. This one's always going to be on the right. So we now have that done. We can go back to the CSS. And now here in the CSS, what we're going to want to do, .navbar. And then what we're going to want to do is put the A for the link, and we're going to want to do it .right. So any links that have the class right are going to follow these specific commands. Float right. Boom. It is that simple. It is that simple. So now we have one step done. The next thing we want to do is we want it the active one. So what are we gonna do for that? Navbar A, and we are going to do active. Boom. What do you want to do for this? Background color. We're gonna do 666, and color we are going to make white. It's already white, but there you go. Have I done something wrong? Color 666, dot active. Why am I doing something wrong? What have I done wrong here? Let me check. Have I written it correctly? Active. Hold on. Okay, let me think about this. For now, let's work on the hover. This one's really easy. Navbar links. Navbar links, and we are going to make these when we hover over the link. So this command here, the colon hover, basically checks for whenever you're hovering over that specific section. So when we're hovering over the background color, we want it to be hashtag DDD. And the color, we are going to want to make it black. So we save, come here, and there you go. You see the color of the text changes to black, and the color of the background changes to white. Now this I am struggling on. Don't know. This is why. Check the spelling. Because here it says Navbar. We want it to be Navbar. Now it should work. Yeah, now it works. As soon as we do things properly, it works. So there you go. That's the navbar done pretty much, and it's all gonna be linked. You can link it to different things. I don't want to focus on that now. Even if we did, it's not like we have much to link it to in this page. So we're just gonna move on. Going back to the other one, there's two different things here. This is gonna be the main section. We have a side here, and we have the main panel. So side panel, main panel. Let's work on that real quick. So what do you want to do? We're going to come back here to the HTML. That's what it's called. There you go, HTML. So what are we gonna do? First thing we want to do is add a row class. So we're gonna have a couple divs here. Okay, don't get worried. This is gonna be not a mess, but it's gonna be slightly more messy, let's just say. So row. Next thing we want to do is we're gonna want to add the class side. So again, open the crocodile, which I keep on forgetting to do. Div, boom, and here we're gonna add the class side. So it's gonna be, we're first gonna do a sidebar, and then we can focus on the main bar. Okay, so side, and then here we're gonna add a bunch of things, blah 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 blah. We want to then add here another div. We're going to space, boom, class, and we're gonna call this one main. Right, so this is gonna be the most basic, I guess, form of doing it. Here we're gonna obviously add the text one up, and as well for here for the side. Let's style this first, shall we? So we're gonna come back up here to the CSS, and we're going to add dot side. Let's start with the side, shall we? So the side, what do you want to do? Well, we want, boom, side. We're going to add this MS flex option, right? Flex is like a special option. Basically, it allows you to sort of play around with the positioning a little bit more. It gives you a little bit more freedom. It also refers to the thing above. So 30% flex. It's sort of going to be the width. Okay, it's going to be essentially the width. I got it right first time. And here we go again. Flex is this kind of like this is quite similar to the sticky, but instead of WebKit, sticky where you repeat sticky again, it's MS, and you have to write flex twice. That's how CSS works. Not sadly, but you know, it can be a bit annoying. The color, the background color for this section is going to be F1, F1, F1. Eladio would like that because he really likes F1. And the padding, we are going to make 20 pixels. There you go. And that's the basics for the side panel. Now we're gonna move on to the main. Here we go, and we're gonna want to do something quite similar. So MS, in fact, it's gonna be so similar. We're gonna copy paste this here. If it's not 30%, to make it 100%, it has to be 70%. Really basic. Background color is just going to be white smoke because for some reason it always autofills to white smoke. Whatever, it looks the same as normal white, so you don't really mind. And padding 20 pixels. We can come here, and that doesn't look like what we wanted it to look. Wow. Row. Forgot to add the row. So row. What do we want for the row? Row here. Sorry, I just spit on my laptop. Hey, row. What do we want? We wanted dot row. And this is really important as well with the flex. Display flex, display MS flex box. There you go. We want to again display flex. Not inline flex, just regular flex. There you go. We want MS. This is slightly more complicated. Again, I do talk about this in in the CSS video. Flex wrap. Boom. We want wrap. And flex wrap again, we have to repeat it. Flex wrap. You want wrap. Now, let's save. Reset. And maybe we should add a bit of content. But this is the basics basically of the side and the main. This is sort of what we're gonna want. But let's add a bit of content because otherwise you can't actually see it, because there's currently no height. If you can see here, there's no height, so it doesn't really do much, right? So let's add a bit of height, and to add height, what we're gonna do is add a couple of elements. So we're gonna come back here. What do we want? We want an about me. So we want a heading, little subheading, a fake image, and then a little bit of text. And then here we're gonna want to do something quite similar. So how are we gonna do this? We're gonna come here. First thing we want to do, we're now on the side. So the first thing we're gonna do is H2, just to differentiate this from the first one. Boom. And what can we say here? Well, the other one said about me. Okay, say about me. Actually, I don't know why I added space here. This might just confuse us. Let's do it like this. Boom. There you go. About me. Here we go. H2. Boom. Next thing we want to do is add the little subheading. So it's just we're gonna want a slightly smaller heading. So let's do H5, for example, which didn't work. Why didn't autofill? There you go. What did we write here? Photo of me. Fine. Photo of me. There you go. Photo of me. So now we're gonna add the fake image. Ideally here we'd have an actual image, but we don't really have any images currently. We can add images later, but for now we're not really gonna add that. So div class, we're gonna call this fake image. Make sure we write that right. Otherwise, as we already know, it messes it up. And then here, what we're gonna also do, you can also add styling inside of the image. So we're gonna want to add 200 pixels, height 200 pixels. Otherwise it doesn't know that you're referring to height. We're gonna want to add a little ending to that. That's pretty much it. And here, in the other one, if I remember correctly, yes, that's image. That's really easy, fine, whatever. We'll do it real quick. Here, image, boom. There you go. Now, that's pretty much it. So let's go down to the bottom. Actually, no, we didn't need a bit of text. So here, P, here I always like the lorem ipsum. Here we go. Lorem ipsum, I love lorem ipsum. It's one of my favorite ipsums. So here, for example, lorem ipsum. I don't think we're gonna need all this. We'll take up until here, and if you use less, we use less, whatever. In fact, I think this is too much. How much do we need? You know what? We'll try this for now. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. I think it's gonna be too much, but oh well. It is what it is. How much text is here? Oh no, that's less than a sentence. Okay, then let's get rid of this. Here we go. Boom. Okay. So there you go. Paragraph, we have that. So now let's work on here. Let's come back. What do we need? Another heading. Yes, so many headings. I love it. It's so confusing. I love confusion. Also, my laptop's starting to sound like an airport. Please forgive me on that. There's nothing I can really do about that. It's just the way my laptop is, really. So I don't know how much you're listening to the laptop airport sounds on the video. Yeah, that's gonna sound ugly on the video, I'll be honest. Maybe I should move my laptop away so you don't hear it as much. I don't know if you can hear it less now. I'm gonna have my laptop here now. This is not part of the guide. This wasn't planned. Whatever, it's okay. So more text, here we go. After the more text, what do we have? We have a little paragraph here, quick little short paragraph. Paragraph here, oops, paragraph. We have a little placeholder, okay, fine. Lorem ipsum, I'm gonna write this myself. Ipsum to lower sits amet. So yeah, I know some lorem ipsum myself. Now, after lorem ipsum, we're gonna have the little 3 fake images. So here, essentially, we're gonna want to copy paste this. So we want another fake image, but now instead of 200 pixels, we're gonna make it 60. Now, let's see if we don't have fake image yet. I forgot about that. But boom, we already have something that looks a bit better. Great. So see, as soon as we add a little bit of height, it looks better. So we actually need, first of all, we want 3 of these images. And next we're gonna style the fake image because otherwise right now it looks like a white box. This is quite simple though. Fake image. And if we go back, what is it that we want? We want essentially a darker color, really. So fake image, here we can just add here. Background color, what did we have here for the background color? We had AAA, not aquamarine, AAA. We also had a width of 100%. And we're gonna add a little bit of padding as well so that the text doesn't appear on the side. Actually, we'll show off what it looks like without padding. And just so you see the effect of padding, which is quite nice. That now actually looks good. So there you go, that's padding for you. Now, we can start off with the main part as well now. If we come back here, there's a couple things we want, but essentially it's copy paste twice. We want a heading, subheading, fake image, which we already have, and a little bit of text. Really, really simple. So we're actually, we're not gonna copy paste that. Are we gonna copy paste that? Yeah, no, we are. Yeah, no, we are. We absolutely will. Because it is something quite similar. So here, boom, copy paste that. Put this here. What do we have here? Title heading, fine. We don't actually have a nice little name. Title, heading. And since you know what, we're gonna copy the same text as the other one. But title description, here we go. Now, fake image here, this is gonna be a bit different. We want it to have, it is the same width. Oh, so we can leave the height here. Actually, you know what? I'm only gonna be picky and add a little bit more height. How would it look if I had 300? Would it look really weird? We're gonna have one. I've just realized we've done a couple things wrong here. First of all, these images don't have padding in between them, which is annoying me. Why is that? Why is that? Okay, I think this might be the easiest way. Margin, this should maybe work. Otherwise, okay, there you go, margin, fine, whatever, 10. The alternative would have been, actually, there is a bit of margin on there. This should all be, yeah, okay, so this is what I thought. Margin, we don't want 10 pixels. Do you want to overcomplicate this? Yeah, okay. Margin left. We're going to change margin left to 0. I think it's going to be the easiest thing to do. Margin left, 0. And now, there you go. Everything's going to be in line, but we're going to have a bit of margin on top and on the bottom. I think that might look nice. So what else do we need? We're going to add a little bit more text here to the bottom. This is just aesthetics. You don't actually need this. Do I still have the lower and copy paste it? I don't. But it is here. So, come here. Boom. I have a bit more there. And we're also going to come here. There's a little P here. A little paragraph. And we're just going to have, what did it have here? I think it was some text. Some text, exactly. Some text. Dot. And we come here, we reload ours, boom, boom, already looking good. So what else do we want? We want another one of these. So title heading, we don't want that div. We want this, am I right? Yeah, okay. Height, we're gonna make this one different. We're gonna make this one 150 pixels, for example. See how this looks? This looks good. However, I'm noticing we want maybe a bit more space in between the two. So another function which we're gonna do, I don't like using this function, but it isn't bad, but we're just gonna do break. It's boring, but it works. Whatever, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what they all say. I think. So since it isn't broke, we're gonna use that. The nav bars work. Okay, I just want to make sure. I didn't know if we made the nav bar work eventually, but yeah, no, it does now. Okay. So that's pretty much it, I think. The only thing that's really left, I believe, is the footer. So we're gonna add a quick little footer here. Outside of the flex, obviously. It's really easy. Div, boom. We're gonna add a class, footer, we're gonna call it. And now we want to have h2 and thank you for watching. Ta-da! This should go on the bottom. Thank you for watching. And now we're gonna style it real quick so it doesn't look horrible. So footer, here we go. And what we're gonna want to do is have here a little bit of padding. So padding, 20 pixels. We're also gonna have text align. We're gonna have it centered. And the color was DDD. No, what am I doing background for? Just color. Just color is just DDD. There you go. Boom. I forgot to add a background color. Or is this not supposed to be? This is background color. Okay, no, the color is just black. Okay, background color. Background color. Oh, that's the wrong website. Aha, there you go. Okay, good. It looks good now. Good, looks good now. Looks good now. So yeah, it's okay. Obviously, sometimes you're gonna encounter a couple of errors. I enjoy the errors. I think it's really nice. I think it's part of the learning experience. So there you go. Eventually, figure it out. What we wanted was the background color, not the color. I think that is pretty much it. There's a couple things which we can do though, and one of the main things I want to do is add a little bit of a card. So actually, the first thing we're gonna do, and now I'm kind of freelancing this. I'm no longer following the guide I had. So this could go wrong. This could go really good. First thing I want to do is change the background color. I want this to be a little lighter, darker. So light gray, I'm pretty sure. Works nice. There you go. Oh, maybe, what about gray? Oh, it's just the same thing. Okay, I thought it was different. What about some... Okay, fine. I guess we will use a color picker. Here we go. I think that might be nice. Let's try that. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Here we go. Okay, slightly lighter maybe. Let's see how this look. This might be too light, so I'm sorry. I'm just, I'm editing the previous video, so don't mind me, please. There you go. Okay, that looks nice. That looks nice. So next thing we're gonna do is add a little cards here because I think they look nice. So, dot card. We're gonna want to add a little bit of padding. Let's say 20 pixels, whatever. We're going to add a border radius. So that is nice and round. Radius, we're gonna add 15 pixels maybe, might look nice. We're gonna use 1 rem. 1 rem is equal to 16 pixels. I think I talked about it in the other video. So we're gonna do border radius 1 rem. And background color. Copy paste this, boom, okay. Now, let's see how this looks. Let's go, div. It's gonna be class card. I named the card, right? Yeah. And the card here. Start the card there. We want to end the card. Is this gonna work? Is the reveal moment? It is gonna work. Of course it's gonna work. Why would it not work? I don't like that border radius. I am going to give this side. What if I give this side a bit of border radius? Maybe. Border radius. 1 rem. Does that look good? That looks absolutely horrible, man. Oh, I don't like the way that looks at all. Nah. No border radius for you. We're gonna tone this down 0.5 rem. We might as well use pixels at this point. Yeah, we're gonna use pixels. Okay, rem is too big of a unit to use. 5 pixels then. How does that look? You know what? We'll take it. We'll take it. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't look great. So that's one thing. Next thing we're going to want to do is box shadow. Box. Not sizing. Box shadow. This is slightly more complicated. Let's say 4 pixels, 4 pixels. Am I doing this correctly? I don't even know, man. RGBA. Déjame dormir, papá. Vete, porfa, estás interrumpiendo el vídeo. Ahora ya. Okay, we had a little bit of technical difficulties. It's all right. So coming back here, we want to, first of all, I think we're going to want to turn on the intensity of the box shadow. 0.4, does that look nice? That looks nice, that looks nice. We'll take it, we'll take it. We're going to make this less. Here, less on the side. Okay, I did this wrong way. We're gonna make this 6. Maybe 6 might be too much. Okay, yeah, it is. So 2 is fine. We'll just do 4. That looks not it. Okay, you know what? We're gonna make it 4 and 4 because I don't know why I'm trying to here experiment with everything, but it's 4 and 4. There you go. A little bit of a box shadow there. Alternatively, we could just make it go all the way around, but oh well. We're also gonna tone this down. What about 0.2? Yeah, that works as well. So that's the thing number 1 we're gonna want to do. The next thing we want to do is add the same thing across the images. So we could just copy and paste this, right? Am I right or am I wrong? We could just copy and paste this. No, there you go. Perfect. So we have a little bit of shadow on the images as well. Next thing we want to do is make it so that if we hover on the card, so card hover, scale 1.05. Did it reload? That's way too big. Of course it is. 1.05. That might be too small. Yeah, that is. Okay, 1.01. How about that? Did I reload? Did I save it and did I reload? Because it looks the same. Okay. 0.02 maybe? Okay, that might be too much. Okay, 1.15, let's just say. And we're gonna add a little bit of a transition here. So these are just the final effects, by the way. 0.5 seconds. And we're going to copy paste this here. Copy onto here. And there you go. Nice little effects. And of course, how can I forget? Navigation bar, Z index of 1, so that doesn't happen. So here, for reference, navigation bar is there. Here it's all right, but as soon as we hover, the card appears on top of the navigation bar. We do not want that. No, we don't want that. So to do that, we want Z index. Again, I explained this in the HTML video. Z index 1. That no longer happens. Perfecto. Next thing we're going to do, this is me being picky. Box shadow. Here we go. And now we're going to find color picker. Let's say color picker from image. Because I had a nice little light blue that I enjoy. We'll use this light blue. Actually, you know what? We have a nice little color there. We might as well use it. Utilize it. That is not a word. Utilize it. Use or utilize it. Well, either or, but not both. And here's 0.2. Let's see how this looks. Boom. That doesn't look great. Okay, you know what? Let's just use a general color picker. Here we go. Color picker. That look good? Let's try this. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Nobody really knows. I thought this would look nice, but honestly, I'm kind of disgusted with how bad this looks. You know, we'll add it. Nice little blue, whatever. We'll add it. It'll add nice. Oh, why don't you just use that color? I'm so dumb. So dumb. Header. Why don't you just use this color, Diego? Okay. Add this here. I guess we need to delete the previous one. Add this here. This might look good now. Keep on going to the video. I'm so sorry. You guys are getting a little sneak peek there. Card hover. Boom, boom. So add a nice little hover effect, shall we? Now you can barely tell that there's anything there. I feel like we're going from bad to worse, man. We are going from bad to worse. Okay. Box shadow. Forget it. It's not working. I don't like it. Okay, whatever. Boom. There you go. That's good. That's good. As long as it scales out, I think that's nice. We're also going to want to change the header, I think. Header, background color. First of all, header. Let's make this. I'm going to give it a height. And that height is going to be 100 VH. It's going to be 90. We're going to have to test this a bit. We're going to make it 94 maybe. Is that enough to include the nav one? 94.2. Oh, perfect. Okay. Next thing we want to do. Okay. This display flex content, align content center, justify content center. This is gonna make us center. Okay, I guess not. I guess not. Justify content. Am I dumb? Okay, we're just gonna amp up the padding. Let's just say 400. Boom, bam. This isn't the ideal way of doing it. Yeah, no, don't take inspiration from me. There you go. Censor now, whatever. Background image. Let's just say, we're gonna do this real quick. Let's just say, would this look good? This isn't even the right size. We need something that's gonna be big. What color is it? It's white. No, that's wait, white on white, that wouldn't look good. This is way too small. This. It's probably too small. Test bg.jpg, for example. Did I call it text bg? Hold on. Text bg. Okay, that's not what I wanted, but well, whatever. Background image URL. Here we're gonna call it text bg.jpg. And now please work. Background size, cover. The image resolution is horrible. Okay, background image, tools here, size, large. We're gonna try this. Okay, so we're just gonna name it the same thing, text bt.jpg. And it's gonna say, do you want to replace it? Of course I do. Come here, boom. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. This looks better. There you go. Next thing we're going to do is we want it to stay still. So, there's a couple lines of code we need. I don't know this by memory, so I'm going to pull up a document real quick so I can find it. Here we go. What do we want? Okay. I'll copy paste this here, but I'll essentially explain what it means in a second. So basically what this is gonna do is make it so the background stays still, right? Here we go, you're gonna see a difference now. Boom, background stays the same. We want that looks a nice effect. Basically, background attachment fixed. It's gonna be fixed to where it is. It's centered, I mean, that's obvious. Background size, we don't really need this twice, because we already have it. And background repeat, it isn't gonna repeat. So it's gonna stay still, centered, and fixed. Is what we want. So there you go. That's that effect there, and it looks quite nice. So that's the first thing. Thank you for watching there at the end. Sure, why not? We'll leave it. We'll leave it. This is me being kind of picky. The last thing we're gonna do real quick, nice little effect, since we're adding effects now, is we're gonna add a little bit of animation. So again, for the simplicity of the video, ideally, you wouldn't do what I'm doing. This is kind of cheating. Shh, don't tell anybody. Add a little bit of JavaScript. What this is going to do is essentially say, again, I explained this in the coding video, which is why I don't want to explain in too much detail, but essentially it's going to be two classes. One is going to be hidden, one's going to be show, and it's going to create a nice little animation. So, this animation here, we're also going to need our two divs. So, hidden, boom. We want a hidden div and a show div. So, let's just come up here, for example, here, whatever. Dots hidden, and we're gonna have dot show, and for the hidden we want it obviously to be hidden, so we're gonna have an opacity of zero. We're gonna have a transition of let's say 1.5 seconds. 1.5 seconds. We're gonna add a little filter which is gonna blur it. 5 pixels, fine. And we're also gonna make it move. So transform, translates X or Y. I've never done Z. We're gonna do Z. This might look good, it might not. I don't know. I've never done Z, guys, like I said. Minus 100%. Oh, you can't. We'll try Z. This might work, it might not. I've never done Z. I actually don't know what it does. You know what? It's gonna be a nice little learning experience for both of us. Opacity 1, filter blur again, filter blurs 5 pixels, okay. Boom. And transform, translate Z 0. And now we actually need to add the class. So what do we want to pop up? Let's just say the cards class here, for example, and class hidden. And the same thing here, card class hidden. And this is not working. No, I don't want to save this. I want to reload. Why is it not working? It might be the translate X, I'll be honest. I don't know what the translate X does. Yeah, okay, it doesn't work, We'll do 100% here and 0, and we're just gonna make this Y. We're gonna make this Y. Why is it not working? It should work. Am I right or am I wrong? Should it not work? Okay, we're gonna add it as its own class. Bye-bye. Card. Here, okay. Div. We don't want you here. Class. Hidden. Okay, and we're just to make sure that this works, we're just gonna do this here. Does this work? Yes, but it doesn't. Not completely. Blur 0. You want this to be 0, obviously. Otherwise, it's gonna stay blurred the whole time. What am I doing wrong here? Okay, yeah, we're gonna do that, I think. And so here, class hidden, we're just gonna copy paste this here, this we can get rid of, and this here we just have another div. Here we go, So our website looks slightly nicer with the animations. And we're also gonna animate these little images as well. So we're gonna add, it's gonna be a little bit annoying. Class hidden, class hidden, class hidden, div, 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 boom, boom. There you go. So we let it reset. Should not appear one at a time. Boom, perfect. And we're also gonna make this little image here do the same thing. So there you go, copy, boom, there you go, boom. Now everything's a little bit more animated. I think it looks nicer as well. And I think that's gonna be pretty much it. I mean, you can add a bit more, but I don't think there's really any need to. I think there's enough. We could obviously play around with hovering and whatnot a little bit more maybe. But you know, it's a nice little basic website. I think it's gonna be enough for today's video. Yeah, nice little website. Here we go. And this is what we obviously start off with. Same format, but we added slightly a little bit more. And obviously we saw here the steps on how to make it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much. And make sure obviously as well to watch the other videos if you are interested as well in seeing the code, and as well as the HTML, the CSS, HTML, as well as also obviously seeing as well the other websites and navigation, where we obviously take this a step further. But this was a nice little website where we could sort of show off the process of how you would go about making a video. So yeah, thank you.